Hello, everybody, and welcome to the live stream, the Operation Unthinkable II wrap-up live stream. I'm Harry from Fog of War, and I'm joined by...
G'day, Adam from Dice of War.
And...
Kristian.
from Painting Panzers, and...
That way, yeah. And Jacob.
Jacob, and you were a German player at the tournament, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Great. So the purpose of the live stream is essentially to do a bit of a wrap-up of Operation Unthinkable II, what happened, what didn't happen, what worked and what didn't. I'm going to be like tits on a bull on this one because I actually wasn't there, but at least we have 3/4 of us who were actually there, who are going to be able to join in and actually talk about what happened. We do have some picks for later on, so we can talk our way through what happened and whether it was any fun and what did I miss out on, all of that sort of stuff. And if you're really good, and if we don't waffle on for too long, we might talk a bit about the German Bulge, since the embargo for that is up, so Adam and Kristian and I can talk about it. What do you guys reckon?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah? All right. So how do we want to run this? We've got a few people in the chat. Might just very quickly talk to them. So we've got Alad. Hi, Alad. Alad is from Wales, I believe. So we have our international audience.
Good morning.
Yeah.
I just turned lunchtime. I've just turned lunch.
I think it is just about lunchtime there.
Yeah.
Ozakar, now I think that's Ben. And there's Seb. So we've actually got some pictures from Seb. Yeah. And Panzer Schula, who was in Thailand. I don't know where he is at the moment, but if you've not seen...
I think he's still there.
Yeah, he's still there. So, yeah, he's a YouTuber who's worth looking at. He paints much better than me. And Neil, who's another one of the players. So we've got a few people joined in.
Neil was first place. So
Neil was first place. Well, why is he not on here? He's a shy and retiring fellow, I believe.
He's camera shy, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's still in Thailand.
He's still in Thailand. Okay. So, do we want to go to the pictures and you guys can talk about, or do you just want to talk generally a bit? Start with about what sort of day it was, whether you guys had any fun.
Yeah, I think generally. So we went to Northern Boards. Is it Wangara? Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah.
Yep. Near Joondalup. Probably
Joondalup.
Western Australia, they're crazy names. What about Coburn? Or what's that? Often mispronounced as. But anyway.
No, you pronounced that very carefully.
Yes. But yeah, that was a great little store. Excellent, very welcoming store, and excellent tables. Even had drink holders. I was impressed with the wooden drink holders actually on the table. I thought that was great.
I've been there 3 times, and this is the only time I realized about the drink holders. Sorry, I've seen them before, and only just realized that time. I was like, oh, okay, drinks.
You realize you're admitting that, like, live streaming on the internet, Jacob?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. All right, as long as you're happy with that.
Yeah.
We planned to have 8 guys, but unfortunately, I felt like to pull out due to COVID concerns. But we still had a great time. It just meant that we sort of had a rolling buy. I took the first buy, and then sort of players opted as we went through the 3 games on the day to do that. Had some excellent tables, excellent terrain supplied by the players, which I'm very thankful for. That's the biggest thing running a tournament is 1, getting players, and 2, getting excellent terrain to actually play on that actually makes it really aesthetically pleasing to play on. So that was excellent. Thank you very much to the players that did supply terrain.
We had a whole city, like literally a whole city on one table. It was amazing.
Yeah, no, that was really excellent. Really made the day. And yeah, everyone was great. There was no... I've been in tournaments where you get guys arguing about rules and they waste 15, 20 minutes. And none of that. Everyone was great. So it was a great day. Everyone, I think, had a great time. And I'm really thankful for the guys that did come. And yeah, we're definitely going to run some more.
Well, the West Australian crew is always very good like that, though. I mean, everybody knows everybody, and it's just not worth fighting with anybody about anything.
Yeah.
No, it's just a game at the end of the day. I mean, we're all adults, most of us.
We're all adults, play with toy soldiers. Just throw
Hey,
some
we're
dice,
working
break
on
each
it.
other in games.
Oh, dear. So, Kristian, what was your impression of the day? How did you go?
Yeah, I loved it. I loved the day. From a personal point of view, I got really lucky with a few of the games that I played. Got really lucky with the dice roll that we had to determine who was going to be missing out. So it's the one time you don't want to roll high. But yeah, overall, I had a fantastic time. Like Adam said, the players are great. The club that hosted us, or the shop, fantastic. So yeah, I loved it. I always do. These tournaments are always good. My first ever tournament with the WA crew my first ever game was at a tournament, and they were accepting. So you sort of know what you're going to get with that. So yeah, fantastic day. Really enjoyed it.
Yep.
Pretty much the same for me as well.
Yeah?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I was actually just about to throw to you, Jacob. How did you go?
Well, I'm pretty stoked, to be honest. I got second place. So
No, congratulations. Well done.
and the day overall, like I find it that the store itself is a part of the day, because if you go into a store or a venue and it's a bit uninviting or dreary, it kind of ruins the mood, makes it a bit harder to get into the mood. But the store itself was, it was great. They had a great selection of built and painted terrain pieces that they use for their own 40k stuff and 28mm as well.
Yeah.
And a nice collection of pieces in a, what is it called? I've forgotten English. Display case.
Oh, yeah.
And the game itself and the people was great. I was the buy for the second game, so I sat out and watched everyone shoot each other up. But no, yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Oh, congratulations on second place. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, Neil beat me to that one.
I
I don't know by how much, but it doesn't matter. One day.
Yeah, I'm afraid Kristian and I always have to play like catch up in terms of, somebody has to come down, trailing down the bottom of the leaderboard.
Usually it's me down there as well, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a 105-point Flames of War tournament. Adam, you bought Hungarians, didn't you?
Yeah, so I had Hungarians. I had I always like to do something different. So I had a Hungarian Panzer IV formation and a Hungarian Assault Pioneer Company as well. So 2 formations in it.
Right.
So I had some Zrinyi as well. The new plastic kits are gorgeous. So had a lot of fun painting them. And with the Assault Pioneers, I kind of mixed Hungarian and German winter troops together. I wanted to make a kind of more veteran look and sort of Siege of Budapest-ish, kind of that sort of area. So
they look
it came out really nice. Oh, thank you. So that was sort of what I had in my head as the force, and I took the first buy and then watched the other guys play some games. Kristian was playing Seb, refighting the Battle of Ardennes, I think, and that was a good game to watch. And then I had my first game against Mark. He had veteran US Sherman Company. The Pershings. He didn't have any jumbos, but he had Pershings. And I guess as a German or as an Axis player, you're often used to, Sherman's front armor 6 or 7. Generally if you shoot him, you've got a good chance of penetrating and blowing him up. But the Pershings, it's just like, it's basically like an American Panther with a better gun.
And you guys were saying that the jumbos were a handful as well. That somebody had them, and
Seb had the jumbos in his in his force, and it was just like the front armor 13 or something silly. Is that right?
I didn't even
So
think
Chris-
my Panzer 470s like almost found it impossible to penetrate, let alone literally
Yeah.
anything else I had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to throw to you, Christian, and so you bought Germans?
Yeah, so I played like a sort of Volksgrenadier. That was the aim, but then I ended up changing it to be a bit more of a Panzergren company. So Adam might have to pronounce this for me, but the Feldharnel was what I was going for.
Feldherrenhalle.
Feldherrenhalle?
Yeah, thank you.
Mm.
My Leicester accent, I tell you every time. So I packed it with like infantry, some half tracks, Marders, Hetzers, and the Panzer 470s, and the Stummels. And yeah, against Seb, I really struggled. Even though it was a draw, I was just grinding away. So I got very close to the win, but his
Yeah.
tanks were just absorbing round after round. The best thing for me in that game was my Stummels. They raced up one of the roads, got side shots on one of his platoons that had Shermans in it, managed to take out the ordinary Shermans, and then my infantry assaulted his jumbo. Eventually, we're talking like turn 5 or something. It was just.
I think we've got pictures of that coming up, haven't we?
Yeah. Oh man, that was crazy. And then, yeah, I actually really enjoyed my list. There's very few times where I leave go. I think I picked a pretty decent list, and I was really happy with it.
Oh, good. And Jacob, what about you? You had Germans as well?
Yes, I did. So I ran the version 4 equivalent of a Speerverband, using the cards to create it into a kind of the proper Speerverband, so the blocking forces, which is an interesting one to run, where you're running Germans that are low skill, but got a high, a decent like counterattack with a counterattack of 3 and a skill of 5. Confident recruit or whatever it is. I can't remember. But yeah, and the list itself was a lot of like it crammed a lot into it because I think it's a 2-point drop per base of infantry. So 45 points of that was all infantry and mortars and anti-tank guns, and then I crammed in some like Kristian, some Panzer 470Vs, which are so good. They're such pretty tanks.
They're a lovely model to build too.
Yeah, I've got the old resin ones. I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so way back when. And some Nebelwerfers. You've always got to have your Nebelwerfers in that list as well. And overall, my 2 games, I had the first one with Tom and his ISUs, and just
shout out to Tom if you're watching.
Yeah.
Hello, Tom.
If you're watching, your ISUs are a pain. That was so frustrating. Panzer 470s were just bouncing off of them until they finally got, that nick in the armor. And then I sat out the second game, and the third game was against Seb and his god-awful Pershings and Jumbos, and that was just that was scary.
So should we get into some of the pictures from the day?
Sure.
I will say, talking about Nebelwerfers, I actually forgot to bring my Hungarian Nebelwerfers, so I actually had Pershing standing in for them at one point.
Yeah, and mine for the first game.
Doesn't it suck when you have to come a long way to play and you leave stuff behind? I left an entire platoon of Soviets behind last time we did Team Yankee, and it's like I took them out to paint the base markings and just left the little buggers at home.
We did tell Adam he'd have to fly home and get them, but he wasn't too keen on it. There they are.
So yeah, Seb sent me this picture. So Kristian, I think that's you, isn't it?
Yeah, so he'd actually, before this shot had been taken, he had pushed his infantry across as if he was going to assault them. So I darted them down the road thinking, if I lose them, who cares? They're only 6 points. And as you can see, they did a lot of work for me. So I'm taking them every time, 6 points for what you get. I thought they were probably one of the most valued items I had throughout the tournament. So
you pushed them up that road that we can see there.
Yeah, so they came flying up the road and did a 9-degree turn and got some side shots. Yeah.
All right. And So we were talking about jumbos. You guys can't see it, but that last American tank sitting on the objective there was a jumbo that had been surrounded by a ton of what looked like Panzer IVs. So I'm assuming that
That
reached
was
the pointy
Neil.
end of
That's
some
Neil.
game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Neil and Seb. I don't know if that was the wasn't the first game. Neil played
Yeah.
Mark, I thought, the first game, so that must have been one of the other ones. But yeah.
Four Panzer
Neil
IVs.
brought Nashorns as well, which I thought was surprising. But man, they did work in that last game I played against him. They took out all my hetzers, 48 inches. I couldn't do anything against them because I was on the defense as well.
Yeah. Neil's
They just
second
put them
game.
in some trees and just, fantastic choice. Would never have thought
Never
to
seen
take
him in
them.
game actually.
Yeah, I
It's-
think they're seen as a bit of a glass cannon, but if you use them well,
All right, so that looked like it was fun. That's another one from Seb. So that, looks like some Panzers getting into the side of some Shermans there as well.
looks like
I think
Neil's
some Germans into the side.
looks like his HQ's copping a pasting.
Right. Okay.
Jumbo Shermans are hard to deal with. They're annoying to deal with just because of their armor. Jumbo Shermans with a 76 are just nightmarish. That is illegal. They are not allowed to use that.
But you can only have like one per platoon, can't you?
Yeah, but you can just direct the shots onto it. You just go mistaken target.
Yeah.
Mistaken
Under-
target, which is
yeah.
I guess the new equivalent to the Jumbos lead the way.
Yeah. Fair
They
enough.
But those super Pershings though, that's just got like a laser beam on it. It's anti-tank 18. Something
Yeah.
stupid.
Oh,
It's Ratify 1, but who cares? It's just dead.
getting to Team Yankee stuff here.
Yeah. So Jacob, this is one of yours. Now I think this was your game against Tom, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it was the first game. Tom and his interesting list, to say the least. It was, from memory, 1, 2, 3, 6 ISU 152s, a IS-2, and then a unit of artillery, some D3 anti-tank guns, the really big Russian ones that you don't usually see, and a platoon of SMG, kind of like tank rider dudes, and then a platoon of just bulk down of infantry.
You had a motor rifle company as like a large platoon as well.
Yeah.
And what are we seeing here? That looks like some sort of assault happening in a building.
Yeah. So this game happened around a very small kind of hamlet, a little hamlet of a church, and I was technically the attacker, but I looked at that and went, nah. So I sat back and let his tanks come in because I was hoping to see what would happen and capitalize on any changes there. Also, I didn't want to get out of being dug in because my guys take forever to dig in at 5 ups. They just don't know what a shovel is. Anyway, long story short, I had cleared those ISUs on the side and decided
we
this
can
is
see a
the
couple
chance
of
to take
deadies.
the objective. That took a long time. And I charged in my poor, wary German soldiers against the angry Russians with PPSHs. And because my skill is a 5 up compared to his veteran, these are guards as well, guards SMG, so he's running at 3s. I just got minced as I charged. I charged in, I took out some, but I just got minced in the end because I couldn't match the ferocity of the Russians. And this one was just before the end result where I kill that last main base and it's just HQ on HQ for the platoons and my platoon gets executed promptly.
And as we all know, Jacob likes to take his Japanese, so I think he had a bit of Japanese mindset in that action.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, nah, we're going in for the fatherland. And it did not work. But I still won the game by only just, though, to be honest. It was a bit of a last, near that road, last little hook that I just blitzed. Just drove all those tanks up and tagged the objective. But no, that was an interesting game. That was a good fight as well.
Yeah.
It's an interesting list that Tom took. Really interesting. I think he had automatic firepower on some of the. Was it even for the ISUs?
Yeah, the
the
ISUs have
ISUs
automatic.
they hit
Yeah.
you vaporize.
I think he just targeted my Pack 40s at the very start, and they were gone like instantly.
That's what
He was
they
just
do.
exceedingly unlucky in this game because he had three groups. He had three of the ISUs shooting two shooting two MG42s in the building, and he spent about 4 turns doing it and didn't do one bit of damage. They completely fluffed their rolls. Like if he hit them once, they would have just vaporized. But
I had
he just completely fluffed it.
My second game was against him, and I had nothing to take out his ISUs apart from the Panzer 470s, and I put them in reserve stupidly. And
Same.
I sort of waited for him to come to me. Luckily, on the first turn, they rocked up, did nothing. Second turn, they got 6 shots into his 3. I think he had 2 free tank platoons. 6 shots, all 6 hit, all 3 penetrated in a row.
Wow.
Next turn, repeated the exact same thing on his other lot that were across the road. So in the space of 2 turns, I went from not being able to face them to destroying all 6, I think it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was interesting, but scary, really. Worrying.
Yeah. Makes everyone... I think everyone ended up focusing, was that right, Adam? You ended up focusing those... what do you call it? The ISUs?
He had them in my battle against him, the last one. He had them at the top of the table, and I was kind of playing hide and go seek with my Panzer IVs with him, and he just kind of sat him back. And I think he took some pot shots at maybe the 88s, and I think he killed one and the other one fled. But because he was kind of distracted with the Panzer IVs, it allowed my assault pioneers to go from building to building and kind of frog leap all the way up, and then they just Panzer Shrek'd them and Panzer Faust them, and yeah.
Well, here's a question for you. Did you get any Panzer Faust kills, or was it all with your Shrek?
It was actually in assault with the Panzer Faust.
Okay, I couldn't get any, none. Whereas when I've taken Shreks before, they always seem to get something. Yeah.
This picture here is an interesting one, to say the least. This is essentially end of the game. I think.
Yeah, it looks like the end of a game.
Yeah, that was the end. Yeah, that was the end. Oh, that was... So this is against Seb's, I believe. Yeah, Seb's. My units were originally where those tanks were, and they came in, and my guys proceeded to say, "That's cool, I'm going home," and ran to the objective. It would have been a lot easier if my Panzer IVs had deployed earlier and on the right side, but they deployed on the far right, and he had some Stuarts over there, of which overkill with an 88 going through a Stuart. I chased some Stuarts for about 2 turns with my Panzer 470Vs. That was an interesting image. And those 3 Pershings that you see destroy, I'm pretty sure, and Seb can hopefully clarify this, I'm pretty sure 2 of them were wiped out by Panzer Faust shots.
If they're Pershings, it might be marks. I don't think Seb had Pershings.
Yeah, he did. He had.
No, he did. He had 3 Pershings.
He did have 3. Sorry. No, it was Mark had the Super Pershing. That's right.
Yeah.
And yeah, so dead sure that at least 2 of them were wiped out by my Panzer Fausts, which was astounding, to be honest.
Yeah.
And my Panzer Shrek did squat and diddly that entire game. Actually did squat and diddly in both of my games.
It's funny how that sometimes happens.
Is that
you just get some unit and it just does nothing.
Sorry, Harry. Is that a Panzer 470A in the picture as well on the right there?
No, it's not. It's just very, very thin.
No, Kristian, you can't have the 470A.
Come on.
He's been trying to hunt them down for ages.
I've got some plastic ones if you'd like them.
I've seen your video on those ones. I think I might hold off if that's okay.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine. That was very diplomatic of you. Okay.
Yeah.
But that looks like a really hard fought. Like there's a lot of dead tanks there.
Oh, it was. It took a long time for them to come around because he did this big flank. So with this mission, it was Cauldron. Yeah, Cauldron.
Mm-hmm.
I mined my right, his left with 4 minefields, and it was all bushy anyway, but it was just to make sure that nothing really came through there or the center part of town. His paratroopers got blown to pieces in the streets before they could have come and help, so he was just doing these final attacks with just infantry, with just tanks, of which I didn't have anything to face them because all my anti-tank was actually in a different spot. It wasn't until my reserves started coming in that I was actually able to finally contend it. But it was still touch and go. Like, I'm pretty sure that without a doubt, if my tanks had been taken out by the Stuarts, which they almost were actually in a very, he got some side shots that I managed to, survive. And then in the final part of the game, my infantry jumped out of the church, I think, or I don't know. I jumped out of somewhere and said hi, and took out the last of his tanks. It was very.
And I think because I had to crop this picture, but just below the bottom of it and slightly off to the right, there's another objective. I think there's the German objective down that side, isn't there? That
was the one that his Stuarts almost got to on turn 3, turn 2, turn 3, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his Stuarts were threatening it, and my infantry would have had dealt with a 5 Stuart tank assault. But then my tanks came in, my Panzer 470s came on off field and said, "Hi, let me introduce myself."
So Alad is saying he's getting tempted to take Pershings to attack in July instead of the Jacksons. So I'm assuming that's for a US list. Anybody have any thoughts about that?
I think that might be a winner. The Jacksons, they've only got an AT-12 gun, I think. Probably the same as... Yeah, they got 90 mils. So they got the same as probably the Pershing, but I just think they're open topped. They got better front armor. I don't know. I mean, I know it's probably going to cost a little bit more in points for the Pershing, but I'd probably take them.
Do they count as scout though? The Jacksons, not scout. Sorry, do they count as
No, they've got nothing like scout or spearhead or anything.
See,
Okay.
I'd be more inclined to take the Jacksons only because I took the Marders and they were fantastic and they're pretty much exactly the same.
But they're much cheaper than the Jacksons.
Are they?
The Jacksons are
how
quite
much are the
expensive.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, if you wanted to
wait.
take cheap anti-tank for the US, you'd be wanting to take M10s with the. I think you can give them Hellcats with the 76.
Yeah.
A hypervelocity AP. They'd be cheap. They'd be fast and cheap. They'd be kind of they're probably better than the Marder. Yeah.
Because I remember when I was facing Seb, I wasn't as concerned about his Pershings because they weren't super. So the front armor, I think 9 or whatever, wasn't really a
American
huge concern
Tigers.
to me. It was just a bit like, I've got plenty that can deal with that. I didn't have to
my
versus super Pershings. But...
My Panzer IVs couldn't do anything really to the front.
Against Pershings, not super.
No, but like if they're at range, so
It
that
adds
it
up.
already adds 1, and then he rolls
Yeah,
at least
true.
a 1. That's 11. The best I can do is bail him, unless I get short range, but then
Yeah, fair enough.
so yeah.
Yeah, no.
So Alad says Jacksons are 24 points for 4. So that's still reasonably expensive, isn't it?
I guess
almost a
the only thing that
quarter
would
of
be
your-
going for you. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm just saying it's almost a quarter of your force.
I guess
So you
the only
might
thing
wanna
that
s-
would be going. Oh, sorry.
Yep. No, go for it,
That would
Jacob.
be the only thing that would be going for you with the Jacksons would be I think they're in lists that their training is a lot better than your normal Americans during that time, is it? Or I'm
They're a
not too
veteran
sure.
tank. They're a veteran tank cutter company, so they would be the same as your veteran Shermans. They're
Right.
probably going to have a 3+ skill. They're going to have seek and destroy.
Yeah.
So it means that they can move, they can shoot, and then scoot and shoot.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're just expensive. That's for me. They're a lot of points. I mean, they're great. They look great. I mean, you can even take an upgrade to give them a better front armor and top armor. Make them the 24Bs or something. And They're even
Those
more
are the ones
expensive.
on the Sherman chassis. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think it'd be cool if you had a list where they were more the support, and you had more infantry, like a battle weary company or something. But yeah, they're just expensive. That's the thing. And they're trying to do everything instead of just one thing.
Always the struggle.
So Neil's saying he had to get side shots to kill Mark's Pershings. I got lucky against Seb. A single Nashon took them all out in one turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll add to that even. Oh, yep.
No, add to that.
That's essentially what. Even though I had Panzer IV 70s, side shots. That was how I think with 2 or 3 I killed in the first game. I killed them from side shots with the Panzer IV 70s. The front's just too hard because it's essentially the same armor. What's the ISU? ISU armor is 9 against anti-tank 14. So even though I had that going for me, it wasn't. Yeah, side armors were just so much more reliable.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So Seb's saying, looking at the leaks for the Bulge Germans, I think Allies are going to struggle to deal with those high armor values. Yeah, we might. So we're going to talk a little bit about Bulge German a bit later on if we don't run out of time. So we might discuss that. But yeah, there's a lot of very high armor values coming up. And Bush Wookiees says, "Hi gents, you guys have inspired me to start flames." I think it must be a Yowie. I'm looking at either Finns or Desert Rats with mid-war for my first list. Hey, Desert Rats can be fun.
I've versed many a Desert Rats.
I've painted many knees on Desert Rats.
Yeah, me too.
I think
Go the Finns.
Finns would be better for if you want like close combat assault kind of thing, and fearless, I guess. Whereas the British are kind of steady, more defensive. Well, depends what you want to run, but yeah. I think as a starter, I'd probably do Desert Rats just because I think they're easier to learn. Yeah.
So Bush Wookiees, if you haven't already done so, maybe you want to come and join our Western Australian Facebook group, and that way, if you want to ask questions and what have you, you can do that, and we're all on there to talk you through it. And then you can find out about the next cool tournament that's happening too.
Yeah.
Does that sound fair enough? Okay, so next pick, Adam.
Yeah, so this is the refight of the Siege of Budapest. I've got my Hungarian assault pioneers that have gone up the gorgeous city fight table that we kind of had. We had cobbled roads and houses everywhere. I think these guys had got stuck under a bombardment at the start of the game and lost half their guys. Out of a platoon of 10, I think I lost about 4 or 5. And then they just spent the rest of the game. I think, there was some Russian submachine gun guys in a building. I assaulted them and got rid of them, and then jumped up the board. And I think Tom was kind of focusing on the infantry coming up the board and not noticing my toldies. I only had 3 of them, and he had a big motor rifle company platoon on the objective, and my Nobelwerfer / Pershings were just, once they ranged in, just kept on firing on the motor rifle company, and the toldies just kept machine gunning because he couldn't dig his bloody guys in. It was a meeting engagement, so no one started dug in, and I think he spent about 4 turns trying to dig in on the objective, just couldn't do it. And I was just sitting there with toldies machine gunning him. And we actually stopped about turn 3 or 4. No one intended to do it. We'd just gone, oh, hang on, I think I've just machine gunned all those guys off the objective. These guys here were close enough. Some of them were in a building nearby, and they were close enough to claim the objective. It was like no one else was nearby. I was within 4 inches. He didn't have anyone within 4 inches because I'd either machine gun or blew up the ISUs.
Yeah.
And I won. So yeah, it was just one of those games where you go, oh, hang on, I think I've won here, or I think I've lost here. And
don't you love that when that happens?
Yeah.
Wait, that's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, a good plan comes together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Zrinis.
man,
This is
the
the new plastic kit, which I think is gorgeous.
Mm.
I'm a big metal resin fan.
Yeah.
For a lot of things, but this new plastic kit is gorgeous. I think I've still got another 8 or 9 of these to paint. Yeah, this is my Zrinis, and they in that battle against Tom as well, they just did what Zrinis do best, which is blow up, dug in gun teams and artillery with their massive 75mm guns. So I don't know if a lot of people are paid Hungarians, but I think this is 105mm guns. This is one of the few units in the game that has 105mm guns and ratified 2. So.
Right.
Oh, wow.
These guys, once they move up and get in position, three Zrinis pump out 6 shots every turn, and they just sat there blowing up his artillery, and they couldn't save because it was that was firepower 2+. So
yeah,
2+ for a 105 in flames was excellent. That's...
Yeah, and if they want, they can also bombard. So yeah, they're pretty versatile. I really like them. So I'll definitely.
And what else can we see on there? There's is that Panzer IVs up in the top corner?
So that's my Hungarian Panzer IVs up the back. So what I've done with them to make them stand out differently from the German ones is, first of all, they're all painted all olive green, but I've put the Panzer IV, the old metal and resin Panzer IVJ kit had wire mesh shirts and side skirts. So I've put them on the side there with the Hungarian cross, and also in the front there's a Hungarian 88. So I had 2 of those, and they really didn't do much except for act as a distraction for everyone.
Oh, really? Because I always get hammered whenever there are 88s on the table. I've never got anything that can do much to them.
I tried. I think the first game I had was those bloody. First time I played against the Americans with the artillery observer plane. And it's very annoying because it comes up in every turn. You roll a 3+ to see if it comes in. It just plops wherever it wants, and sights in for the big American artillery in the other end of the board. But the only people that can shoot it down is, unless you've got dedicated AA, is bloody Allied players, because none of the Axis tanks seem to have AA machine guns. So, Hungarians and Germans are like, nah, we don't need our machine guns for aircraft. They're better for shooting infantry. And I had 88s to try and at least shoot the observer down, and I missed it, couldn't do anything. They died the next round from artillery that just pasted them and wiped them out. So,
right.
Yeah.
And that's a picture of your force sort of pretty much laid out with the Toldies down the front there.
Yeah, so I've got the big platoon up the back with the 88s. That's my big assaulting platoon. They're the guys that try and move forward and be aggressive on the battlefield. And the smaller platoon at the front is they're the ones that usually hold the objective, because they've got a heavy machine gun in with them.
Yep.
And I've got 3 little Toldies out the front. All their job is to spearhead things to actually increase my deployment area.
Right.
And they actually did a pretty good job versus Mark in shooting up is it the M12, the self-propelled artillery that the Americans have with the big...
long toms. Yeah, the long toms.
Well, yeah, so they shot up some of those. They killed 2 of those, I think, which was good. Got their points back. Then they died. But yeah.
So Neil's saying Mark was perfect at putting it an inch or so away from my AA range.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's talking about the Observer, the US Observer aircraft.
The Grasshopper or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
Wow, I recognise that paint job.
Yes. They oh man, you got to take those. The Panzer 470. I would take them every time in a late war list for the points and what you get out of them. They're just
How much are they in this? I think they're like
27 or 29 for free.
They are 36 for 4. So yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, in the new Bulge book, they're even cheaper. I don't know why you would not take them. I think they're close to 5 or 6 points each.
The only issue I found with them was because they're fixed. Neil was very good at maneuvering his tanks around them to keep getting side shots, and I had to keep sort of trying to blitz so I could get my 2 shots and stand a chance of doing any damage because he was just surrounding them. And I think in the end 2 still survived, but everything else was obliterated. So
yeah.
So Neil was really good at using maneuver to make you.
Well, our last game, it's hard to explain, but I was on the defensive at the lower end of the board, and I didn't take into account his recon. So he pushed his recon right on the bottom right corner of where I was and just packed it up. So we called it the meat grinder because everything was rushing to that corner, getting annihilated by his stuff, whilst some Panzer IVs were coming around the other flank. So I had stuff in reserve. Oh man, and my reserves were all coming up in the meat grinder because it's one of those ones where you have to roll to see what side of the table they come off. It was all coming off on that side. It was. I didn't get a photo. I wish I had a photo of it because it was just tanks and infantry everywhere, and a lot of it was dead. A lot of it was German.
And that I think is your force, isn't it?
Yeah. So that was my force. Initially, I'd actually calculated it wrong using the Forces website. So I did have a little bit more in there, but this is what I ended up taking, which was legal. Thank God I double-checked before the tournament. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So those infantry, I think they lose a couple of stats for -2 per platoon, plus the HQ. One of them came in half tracks. You had the Stummels, Hetzers, Marders, and the Panzer IVs, 70s, along with the Packs and the Nebelwerfers and the OP. I didn't really get much use out of my Nebelwerfers. They didn't really do anything for me. I forgot to even use them in the last game. I was that concerned about all the armor that was coming in on that bottom corner with Neil. And same with the Pack 40s. I think they were a bit of a waste of points. I was worried that there was going to be very heavy armored lists, so I wanted that extra bit of firepower, especially if they were dug in. But didn't
just
really
the pair of them,
much.
wouldn't that be pretty fragile?
Yeah, exactly. So that was the case. The previous tournament, I took Fallschirmjäger for the D-Day list, and I only took 2 Pack 40s, and they performed really well. So I had confidence that these would act in the same way, but nah. So I think next time I'd probably swap them out for mortars or maybe some more Stummels, a couple more Stummels there.
105 mortars are great.
Yeah. And there's the old Hetzers. This was against Seb.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I actually registered any kills in this game. I think it was my Stummels and my Marders that were getting the kills, but they look cool, trying to shoot stuff.
And the Panzer III there, that's a artillery
the little
observer?
OP, yeah, he's got his little machine gun. I think Seb had rushed his Paras into the church, so they were just putting some fire down in that church that you can see there.
Because you've modified that, you've moved the gun across where the dummy gun was on the Panzer
and I
III
actually
OP.
put a German star antenna, which the guys liked, on the back of that. So yeah, modified it, and it's a great kit. I'm with Adam. I'm very much a metal and resin guy, but these new plastic kits are awesome. So I'm for the vehicles. I'm still not sold on the infantry, but the vehicles, I'm loving the vehicles.
So we need to probably have a debate about that one day, because I'm firmly a plastic guy. I want to make them out of plastic. Yeah, no, resin and metal. No,
See, the hard plastic infantry that they released, so the Panzergrens and the US Airborne that they released,
good.
Hard plastic, they were good. I thought that was a pretty decent for what you're getting. This new soft stuff, I'm not sold on it, but I like it. Yeah.
It's like I don't know if anyone plays or used to play Warhammer, but when they went from the metal 28mm infantry to the fine cast or whatever they call it, I find it a real hassle to tidy up if there's any sort of mess on it. Like, you got to clean up flash or mold lines. it doesn't clean properly, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always an interesting debate because I didn't buy British Paras because they were the Cyocast plastic. But, I mean, people are telling me they're not bad, so I might punt on some of those and have a bit of a look. But, you know, at Australian prices, that's a heck of a punt.
Yeah.
Panzers sure did a good painting for those British Airborne. I thought they came out pretty nicely, actually, for the new plastics.
Well, I think he makes anything look pretty nice.
Yeah, see, he might have something I don't have access to, being like, you know, skill and competence, those sorts of things that you have to bring.
The other good thing with our scale is there's other manufacturers out there. So like Peter Pig, they do some awesome British Airborne stuff in metal. So you know, there's other alternatives, but you want to try and stick with Battlefront if you can, I feel.
Yeah.
I just think if they went plastic, hard plastic guns and vehicles, excellent, great, love them. Yeah. Just metal, if you went metal infantry, I think that'd be the best of both worlds. And then, but I guess
that's what you and I want.
Yeah.
I don't know. I reckon Pete told me he prefers the metal infantry too. So come on. Come on, Pete.
The metal Soviet Team Yankee guys and the plastic ones, the flexible plastic. I would take the flexible plastic anytime.
Really?
I really would. I really liked those. They were the first flexible plastic I ever looked at, and I thought they were quite good. And then I finally got a look at some of the original Desert Rats in plastic, and it's like, oh, that's what everybody was complaining about. They were dreadful.
Well, what's the problem? What's the problem with the metal infantry? Then, from your point of view?
Oh, they just took forever and a week to clean up. Like, I got stuff where the actual base had so much shit on the bottom of it that I had to get a proper metal file to like take all the stuff out so that it would sit on the plastic base.
Yeah, I've got a little mini bench grinder from Aldi, but I don't have many problems.
See, I don't have these problems with the metal. I don't think I've ever really had any issues with the metal. I mean, they take clean up, so I've got my metal files and that, but only talking hobby ones or small things. And I've never really had these problems. I've seen them, so I know you're not the only one that's had it.
It's when the mold slipped, I think, in the metal ones, at the end of the mold.
They were pain.
I think that's when it happens. So I would agree it does happen, but
their customer service is awesome. So if you've got that, you just message them and say, I need a replacement.
They'll send you
but
honor it.
It's not actually worth a replacement. You've got like a bunch of figures that need some work. You can't really just say, hey, send me more. That's not really how that's going to work. It
depends, if the mold is terrible and their like faces are in half and stuff, but it does happen. And you got to say, I paid good money for these Australian prices, you know.
Yeah, but see, after I paint them, you can't tell if, you know, what they used to look like before.
Your painting's not that bad. I've played so many times.
Your painting's quite good, Harry. I think you're a bit hard on yourself there.
He's just doing
what's Panzer say? For me, it's not the material that it's important. It's the sculpting.
It's the sculpting and the casting. Yep. Anyway, I don't want to get too wrapped up in discussing the benefits of that.
We should do an episode on this, Harry.
We can do an episode on that. That'll be fine.
Versus metal.
Yeah.
What I want to do is, before we get into the Bulge Germans, because, I mean, we're nearly at 50 minutes. If we spend the last 10 minutes talking about Bulge Germans, that'd be great. But I just wanted to get from everybody what you liked about the tournament, what was the standout for you, just some closing comments on what you thought about it. Do we want to start with Jacob?
Radio, yeah. Horrible tournament, never again. Nah. It was, I like the environment, like for playing the games was excellent. Overall, like when people had bad rolls, or you know me having bad roll, or my opponent, everyone took it on. You know, took it. Was it take it to the chin? I think. I'm bad at saying. Took on the chin or something. You know, it's just and you keep on rolling. But no, everyone's gonna have an excellent game, and everyone just it flowed well. We had no issues. It was an excellent day.
And Kristian, what are your closing comments on it?
Yeah, it was a fantastic day. It was great to catch up with the regulars, some new people. Well, I'd never met Mark before. It was good to meet Mark, and It was a shame we had high hopes. There was a lot of popularity when we first mentioned this tournament. It was a shame that we lost a few due to whatever reason. But the ones that did come, it's all in great spirits and had a fantastic day. And yeah, congrats to everyone that won something or came first, second, and that. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Can't wait for the next one. Hint.
Yes. Wink, wink, nudge,
So
nudge.
Seb said it was a great day and thank the organisers. So yeah, I was going to put that in. So yes, Adam, you've come over here and we've had people organise stuff before. I organised a Team Yankee thing. Dan
Corey's-
has organised a few
Corey, yeah.
things. Corey has organised stuff. But you've really come over here and shaken stuff up. So, I mean, that's been fantastic. But how did it work for you? Because I mean, you have come the furthest to do the tournament.
Yeah, little just 1600k flight. That's all. Yeah, no, it was good. It was a great day. It was good to see everyone. I met Neil for the first time and Mark as well. Seb and Jacob I'd met before, which is great, and Kristian, of course, we caught up a few times. And Tom, it was good to see a new player. From my point of view, it was good to see a new player like Tom that hadn't played before. And then also maybe someone that had played in older versions of Flames of War, like Neil, and he'd come back. So for me, that's good. We've got new players. We've got older players that are coming back to Flames of War.
Yep.
And for me, that's great. It's a good sign of the community in WA, in Perth. I know a couple of guys that, like, we had one guy pull out because of illness, and then another couple of guys wanted to come but had like a work commitment or something. So
Yeah.
I think the next tournament I think we run will be probably Team Yankee, I think. And Kristian's like, no.
No, I really want to get my Team Yankee on.
I need to get my Russians.
So I think there's more probably Team Yankee guys in the community at the moment.
Yeah, it's
in
popular. It
WA.
is popular.
So that'd be good. And then I'm also looking at doing a modified mid-war tournament
Yeah, it's gonna be
later.
exciting.
Oh yeah, with the modified rules. Yeah.
With the modified
Modified points. Yeah.
So like I think it's Buningrad or something. they
Yeah,
call it in the
Alad was
UK.
talking about that on the pre-stream. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's good. I think that'll be really good. Yeah.
So where we got? So Panzerschule also says, "Well done, Adam." Bushwookie said,
Cheers, Frank.
"Sweet, my Israelis will get table time."
Yep.
I never
Covered.
built mine. I've got a complete Israeli force that's still
I've
sitting
got-
in boxes.
Me too. So I've got either French or Israeli. I don't know which one I'm going to do.
Well, I'm thinking I might be able to get my Bushmasters and my modern Australians
that'd-
actually
that'd
all
look
sorted
sweet.
out
That'd look sweet.
by then. That'd be a lot of fun. So Artsy Gem, don't know who that is, but they just said that they're joined in.
Hello.
So hello to you. What is Seb saying? Got some Germans, Kristian, Leo 2, basically Tiger 2s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fair.
I don't know. I just can't be sold on Team Yankee. It's not that I don't like it. It's the period of history. I'm a much more World War
It was
II,
my
Cold
era.
War.
I lived through the Cold War, man.
No.
Yeah. I was there.
trying to think what the
I had Canadians, but I sold them. Maybe I'll go back on the Canadian. I might go back to Canadians just for a small little 60-point force. We'll see.
Yep. So, do we want to do some Bulge Germans in the last
Sure.
little bit? Where are we? Boop. So, the embargo is off as of today, so we can talk about it. I have done absolutely nothing about doing a video for this yet because I think I've been sitting on this PDF for a week and a half or so, and I've got other stuff happening. I just haven't had a chance to even look at it until today. Adam, have you been more diligent than me?
Yeah, I've had a little bit of a sneak peek. So interesting things for me that's in the German Bulge book. You've got I like all the cool, weird, wacky stuff. So you've got those little what are they called? The Borg War demolition vehicles, but they're chucked to the Panzer.
Oh,
The-
yeah, we're talking
the
about
pa-
there's a Waffen something or another.
The Panzer Wines or something. They've got those.
Oh wait,
You've
are
got
they
your-
in there? Sorry, the
Oh,
Bogwarts
no,
with the
maybe, no, I'm getting confused with something else.
yeah.
Oh no, another spoiler.
So yeah. Sorry, we've got the Jag Tigers. We've got the new plastic Hornies. I think is really cool.
Yeah, and Hummels, right? You can make
and the
both,
Hummels.
I think,
That'll
in
look
that.
great.
Panzer wants to know how many points are Sturm Tigers.
There.
We'll look that up in a minute. I think.
I'll have a look. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, some cool stuff like that. You got the Jag Panthers. Did I say that right?
Yep.
You did
Better.
this time.
Yeah, you got Jag Panthers, Jag Tigers, Tiger Twos, all the real fun stuff that allies are just going to hate because they won't be able to penetrate it.
Yeah, I'm looking at this stuff going, my Brits are finished.
Yeah, I think to me this is probably really what except for super late war is what a German list sort of should have in late war. I guess to me this is the ultimate kind of book. So
Yeah.
the troops haven't got as ground down in that their stats start to suffer. You know, later in the war they've got like
Yeah.
they're easier to hit or their stats go down. I think you can still do like a elite or whatever German force in this, whereas in later books, like I think I remember in the old Berlin, you started to get
Yeah,
hang on guys with
Or desperate measures.
recruits, basically putting recruits into it. So
Yeah, Phil and Wayne were doing a video about that I was watching today. And yeah, you get very, very green reconstituted battalions that have terrible stats, but you know, you get 3 Panthers for 20 points. But then you also get more elite things that end up with actually Panthers with people who know how to use them. So, you know, the stats are improved and the points are obviously different for those. So, yeah, I think it's very much there are the Volksgrenadier and the reconstituted quite green troops, and there is that core of veterans that they reconstituted for the Battle of the Bulge, where you get the quality of the troops again, and there is that big disparity.
yeah. Panzer Schul's asking, can you get a Sturm Tiger formation? I don't believe you can. I think they're a support option. That would be interesting, but no. What do you want to wipe out Warsaw, Frank? What's going on?
They do get fun artillery rules, though, like they can target bunkers and things like that you can't normally do with bombardments. I also think they don't suffer from any minuses for not having 4 guns firing, because they're just
that's
huge.
juicy.
Yeah,
That is
that might be
very
the rocket
juicy.
artillery. That might be the rocket artillery rule
Yeah,
that they got. Well, we also get the half tracks with all the cool guns. So the drilling and the
all of those.
The triple AA.
I have a feeling Kristian will be very interested in those, won't you, Kristian?
Yeah, I do like my unique half tracks. I saw that they even had a sprue with the Pack 40 on it. I thought that was a bit early for the Bulge, but for the half
they were
tracks.
out then.
So.
I think
was
they
more
started
late-
pumping them out
late.
around D-Day, but not a lot.
Actually, guys, the rocket howitzer rule for the Sturm Tigers is interesting. A unit with rocket howitzers weapons does not need to re-roll successful rolls to hit for only having 1 or 2 weapons. So that's what you were saying, like it. But also, a unit with rocket howitzer weapons only gets 1 range-in attempt for each weapon firing an artillery bombardment.
So there's a downside.
Yeah, there you go. It would have to be because that's
so if you can only have 2, so it means you only get 2 range-in attempts instead of the normal 3.
Fair enough. So Bushwookie says, what's the opinion of the panel on mixing infantry and vehicles in the starter boxes?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, well, you
Yeah.
have to. I think you've got to try and do a mixed sort of force. If you try and go all tanks or all infantry, you tend to be weaker in one thing than the other. So having a bit of a mixed force is always good.
For starter forces, my only argument against it would be the tank rules are quick to play, and if you're a new player, starting off with tanks, bang, bang, boom, boom, yay, it's over in an hour or two. As soon as you put the infantry in, then you've got to move them and dig them in and assault and do stuff. But to use the starter forces as the nucleus of something that you will build into a force that you will use later, I think including the infantry in is a good deal. So that's my only comment on that. Seb says SS Tiger 2's inside an SS Panther formation look good. Okay.
Yeah, not many tanks.
Oh man,
I mean, probably don't need many.
I'm sitting here waiting for Bulge British, and the only thing I'm going to get is a pumped up Cromwell with a 17-pounder on top of it. Like,
well,
you know,
Is that the challenge?
No, that's just the 5. Oh, yeah, that one.
Challenger.
Yeah.
So there's a plastic Challenger coming, which will be lovely. Or Comets. I've still got like 1,000 Comets in boxes that I didn't build because I bought them before I figured out how many points there were.
That's why the was it the Typhoons in version 3 were like a must take for the Brits because they were like super good at taking out German tanks.
Yeah,
Still a must take.
absolutely. Quite apart from the fact that they're very pretty. So Neil says Pack 40 on the track. So I think you were talking, Kristian, about.
I saw the sprue. Somebody posted on Facebook. It looks interesting.
I don't know if
The
it's
SD
in this though.
The SDKFZ 234-4, I think.
Okay.
I don't quite remember. If you want to have the proper name for it.
Neil says I have some original metal and resin ones that have never seen the table. Well, that'll be your time to.
Yeah, I just saw the
get them
sprue.
on.
I'm not sure if it's going to come out if they're just preparing for future, like the Berlin book. Because
just a quick thing on things you haven't seen. I forgot to say about the tournament. The thing that this tournament saw a lot of vehicles that you don't normally see in normal play, which was nice. Like I rocked up to the tournament thinking I've got Panzer 470s and I've never seen them before, and then Kristian rocks up with them as well, and Hetzers and Hornesses and IS2s you see a lot, but all those vehicles that you don't really see a lot, we actually got to see a lot of interesting, unique vehicles. So yeah, just to jump back to that because it was something I remembered.
Artsy Jem was asking about Panthers. Look, I think in V4, Tigers point for point are probably better. They're more versatile. But Tigers are a little bit more, I think 1 point more expensive at the moment. But once you get SS Panthers, they're a bit cheaper. I think as long as you keep them back, and their role is literally just to shoot other tanks, and you keep them long range and in some sort of concealment, I think they're worth it. But I mean, really, why would? Then you've got the flat Panzer, which is the same gun, the same front armor, but cheaper. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the Jag Panthers and thinking, Panther stats, 88mm gun. I'd like to give those a bit of a whirl, and I still have some of the plastic ones from the previous set unbuilt somewhere, so I might go rummaging in my stash and see if I can find those.
Bit of the sprue connoisseur.
Sorry, what was that, Jacob?
Bit of the sprue connoisseur there with all your random bits and bobs.
Oh man, I've just got stuff everywhere. So the starter force is a heavy tank hunter camp group, so it is the Jag Panthers and some AA stuff, the Hummels and the Hornies, some infantry, some Panzer IVs, and some recce armoured cars. So, I mean, that's good. It doesn't have any Tigers in it, which I think will the Tigers aren't out in the first wave of the German Bulge release. They're not going to be available on the 6th of June. So when all the rest start coming out, they will be released a little bit later on. Same thing with the Yag Tigers. And so I think a few people will be a little disappointed that they'll still have to wait a little while to get their plastic Tiger 2s.
Yeah, I don't know.
They are
for
coming.
Me, the Tiger 2, it's a lot of points. You can build a list around it, and I've seen it done well. But yeah, once you get flanked, if you get flanked, especially with something high AT or IL2s, any sort of air comes in and you have trouble. So you've got to bring your AA tanks with them, I think.
Because you can't take one anymore either, can you? You have to take two, which is frustrating from like a German player point of view, because it's just points-wise not worthy.
I mean, you can't choose it like before.
You should be able to take one in V3, come on.
No.
I only got one King Tiger, so if I want to do a King Tiger thing now, I need to get another one.
You can take one, but it's a HQ, and you're still going to have to take at least four more.
So you need,
So,
So our last thing there is Kristian. That's you did
very
a
much
work in progress.
So that's a video that's going to be released this weekend. It's actually finished now, so it doesn't look anything like that anymore. Similar.
Oh, sorry to put up a pic of the work in progress thing, but
come on, mate.
I think it looks good.
I like the barrel. I thought that was well done on the barrel.
So this is actually the Yag. This is painted like the Yag Panther at the Imperial War Museum in the UK. So I went pretty much as identical as I can do in this scale. Even the turret, and I've put the correct numbers and everything that was the one displayed at the Imperial War Museum. So if people want to follow along with that, then it's there. So it's a relatively easy camo to reproduce. Obviously, apart from the turret, you have to do that.
Oh, did you cut the holes in the armor to be able to see in, like they've done at the Imperial War Museum?
No, we haven't gone that far, mate. I have to use it on the table. It'll probably end up with a big hole in the side of it if Seb's Shelms have got anything to say about it. But
so we are over time, but we'll deal with there's a couple of comments and then we'll wrap up, I think. So Artsy Gem saying they've always played Panzer Lair and always got rolled over by Easy 8s and Jumbos.
Yeah, they're a pain. They're always a pain.
We used to have, was it Anthony at the previous tournaments with his US Armored Company? And my God.
Yeah, they always kicked us.
Easy 8s and Jumbo leads the way, and it's just like,
go one turn they're at one end of the table, 2 turns later they're at the other end, completely behind your line.
All right, guys. Well, we'll start to wrap it up there, I think. But thank you for all coming on to talk about the tournament. It's great because I didn't get to go, but now I get to feel that that I at least had some idea of how much fun you guys had, and I'll definitely make sure I can come to the next one.
Awesome.
Yeah, we missed you, mate.
Yeah. And thanks to Adam for organising it. Thank you. We always do appreciate that.
Not a problem.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adam. I really appreciate it, mate.
Thank you. Now, a few people have been enjoying these live streams, and we've been talking a little bit that we should do some more of them. So we are discussing maybe talking about Bulge Germans in some more detail once I've got off my lazy ass and had a bit of a look. That would be nice when I know what I'm talking about. So yeah, if you guys would like to see that, let us know on the Facebook page for the Flames of War and Team Yankee West Australia group, and we'll try and get that organised. So would you guys be interested in doing that, Adam and Kristian?
Yep,
yeah, mate.
Certainly.
Yep.
Cool.
I intend to paint a lot for this Bulge stuff. You know me, I love painting German vehicles. So
I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to get some of the new Bulge release stuff without having to wait for it to actually get shipped to Australia. But to do it without
swim.
Yeah. Well, we can pay lots of money to have it shipped. I mean, we can get the stuff here, but it's incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we'll do something. We'll work something out.
See what we can do.
Yeah.
And we need to have the plastic versus metal discussion.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Barry.
plastic
Yeah.
versus metal debate. Yeah, I'm willing to have an open mind about that, but you know,
Although we need
I
to have
love my
somebody
plastic
else,
kits.
so Adam and I don't bully Harry out of the
Yeah.
plastics.
Yeah.
We need to be fair.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very, very much for coming on, and thank you very much to all the people who've come and joined us live and asked questions and been part of it. If you're one of the people who come and see the stream afterwards, we're sorry you couldn't join us live, but thank you very much for watching. And yeah, we will definitely do this again. But thank you, and good night, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Tally
See ya.
ho.